This is a short exploratory video showing how to create the image banners across the top of pages, which are contextual, so they change depending on which page you're on. This is a common request for websites, and I encourage you to look at the Drupal Bootstrap series by Drupal Legoland on YouTube, which is really good for explaining the concepts of Bootstrap Theme for Drupal and combining that with views. What we're doing here is we're combining it in a slightly different way to create banners across the top of each pages. To do that, we'll be using 3 different modules. They are the Bootstrap theme itself, and which isn't a module, it's a theme of course, and the views module and display suite. So we'll begin. We'll start by going to the structure of one of the pages to see where we can insert the banner. Where we'd like it to appear is just above the title of each page. So we'll manage the display of this page and see what sections we can put them into. This is similar to the blocks that Drupal comes with by default, but Display Suite adds that extra layer of flexibility. So for example, on the Display Suite module, we've chosen a layout of a 2-column stacked, where we have a header, a left, a right column and a footer. And what we'll do is we'll put the image gallery in the header section here. You can put more than one thing in each section. So as you'll see here, in the header we've got nothing at the moment, and that's where we'll be putting our gallery. Okay. So we've already got the basis of this from our gallery at the bottom here. And what we'll do is we'll use these fields to create the gallery, but instead place it at the top as a nice carousel instead of this box, modal box here, which isn't quite as satisfactory. So to do that, we'll go to Views, Structure, Views, and we'll add a new view, and we'll call it Treatment Banner Gallery. Okay, this won't be a page, this will be a block. And I'll just do one thing quickly just to make sure that the JavaScript's working. The reason that I'm not getting the reactions when I uncheck these things is because I'm using a different version of jQuery, which I need to downgrade. So we'll use this for divided by there we go, and then we'll change it back to a more up-to-date version once we've done the carousel, because the Bootstrap library requires a more up-to-date version of jQuery. And now you'll see when I click these boxes, I'm getting the reaction that I need. So, treatment page, gallery. I want to create a block of unformatted list of fields. We'll change this to Bootstrap carousel as we go. We'll remove that because we want a limited amount of items in there. Continue and edit. Now the first thing we want to do is make sure we're getting the right data into the view, and to do that we'll look back at the gallery page here to get the right names for the fields as we add them into the view. So let's do that. Okay, so let's work out the names of these fields, and to do that we'll go to Structure, Content Types, and I know that this is a treatment page, and we'll manage the fields, and we're trying to get the right machine names for the fields that we want to put into a carousel. So here we go, we've got fields photos, which is simply a field type of image, and that makes it very simple to pull into a carousel. So what we'll do, I'll just copy that, Control C, and go back to our view, and under the fields we'll add a field of type field photos. There it is, and it appears in treatment page as we expected. If we had a content typed with similar named machine names, then that would appear there, and you'd have to check if that's the right one. Great. So we'll apply to all displays. We don't want a label, and we'll leave all that there for now. Apply. Great. Ooh, why is that like that? Let's have a look. Content photos delta. We don't want delta. I add the wrong field. Field photos. Delta. Yeah, we don't want the number. We want the actual field. Field photos. Bit stuck here. Let's investigate. Let's just look for photos. Oh, interesting. So it comes up as photos, not field photos. It's good to know. Confirm we've got here. So the label, we're searching by the label. Let's see if that applies, rings true for all of these treatment groups. Yes. Great, okay. So photos, and what we want is, the actual node rather than the number of it. And we'll do the same again, not create the label, and we'll use what I've already created, an image style. In fact, I'll create it after this video. What I'm going to do is click this one here, slideshow homepage, and we'll create a slightly different image style. What this does is it crops and scales images automatically as they're uploaded, so the user doesn't have to worry about doing that. They might be slightly surprised when they see their image scaled and cropped slightly, but it avoids them having to get out their image editor and crop and shape images, which not everybody knows how to do. Okay, so we'll leave that original image for now, and we won't link it to anything, and we'll apply to all displays. Great, so now we've got all of the images regardless of what treatment page they are added to, and we need to get rid of all these different fields that we don't need or want. So deleting the title and the delta. Okay, fantastic. So we're ready now to make this into a carousel. What I've installed is, as well as the Bootstrap theme, a module called Bootstrap Views. So Views Bootstrap Drupal. Yeah, so it's called Views Bootstrap, and you need this installed in order to have the necessary options available to you when creating anything to do with Drupal via views. So at this stage I've got an unformatted list, and you'll see here we've got lots of options to change these into accordions, carousels, etc. And we'll choose carousel. Before I do that, I will create a page. Now the reason I'll create a page is for test purposes. So rather than mixing and confusing things by adding it to display street straight away, I'll create a page, and I can use that page in a different tab to view how we're going with creating this view as a carousel. So we'll do this, and we'll call it a similar name to the view itself. This is purely just for testing. We can delete it afterwards. Gallery. Great. It just creates an easy way to check how we're doing without mixing it up with another page. This view page, that's not quite what I wanted to do. I just want to open it in a new tab. Maybe I'll just click it. Or click that link there, view page. There we go, that's what we want. Okay, so at the moment it's obviously not got the Bootstrap applied at all. And remember, eventually we'll have to upgrade jQuery to get this to work. So first thing first, we'll use the Views Bootstrap module to change the unformatted list into a Bootstrap carousel. Now we won't see any changes in the preview below because it's not built in to the Views module in that sense, but it will be when we switch back to that tab after upgrading jQuery. I like to choose the pause and hover. I think it's for a better user experience, and we'll show navigation, which allows you to switch and change between images, and indicators are on the side we'll decide if we want to keep those on or not. Leave it up to the reader. Save. Okay, so now we've changed it to Bootstrap Carousel, and we need to apply the settings of that module. Oh, we've already done it. There we go. Settings, done. Field settings. What I'm looking for is options to add names, titles and descriptions to each of the images, as I've done on the home page, but perhaps I'm verging off a little bit rather than trying to do too much in one video, because I can't quite see how that's done at the moment. It's gone from my mind. Okay, so we'll keep it simple, and we'll keep with just the gallery as a Bootstrap carousel. So we'll save that, and I'll refresh, and it won't work yet because we've not switched back to the correct version of jQuery. There we go. What's going on? And if we inspect, we should see a jQuery error. Great. So in the console, uncut type error, so the $, which is what jQuery declares itself as, is not a function, requires 1.9 or higher. So let's do that, just to confirm it's working. jQuery update. There it is, configure. This can also be done from the configuration page, which might be quicker and easier to get to. So, default jQuery page, version 1.9, and we'll save configuration. And let's see if that's done what we need to do. We are still logged in as an administrator, so I think it might be applying the administrative. Oh look, we've almost got it there. There we go. Let's get in there. So I'll open this in incognito just to be sure that we're not being given the older version of jQuery. No change. Oh, it's taking a while to load perhaps. Ah, they've all been put into one block as opposed to separate blocks, which is to do with the settings of the field. Okay, so let's have a look and see if we can fix that. So we'll go fields, settings, default fields, photos, multiple field settings. Now what we want to do is uncheck display all values in the same row, because what we want is each row, adhering to Bootstrap's rules, each row should have one image in it. The row concept is central to Bootstrap. So forgetting Drupal entirely and just looking purely at Bootstrap as a CSS library, we can see how, if we go to the right page, how the grid requires the rows to be declared. So row. So each it's a 12 column grid system. So 8 plus 4 equals 12. And within each of these column blocks there is a row. So if you imagine around these two blocks here, column MD8 and column MD4, there is in fact a div with a class name of row, and that contains these columns. And when we do a Bootstrap carousel, what happens is Bootstrap View's Bootstrap module creates a row, a div with a class of row, and within that puts another div with a column MD12, so that the image spans the entire row, and that's how you get an individual image per row. So we'll uncheck that, apply to all displays, and click save, and then we'll switch back to our incognito mode. A moment of truth, and it didn't work. Excellent. Is it a caching issue? Don't know. Let's see. Profiles. Nope. So we've console. We've got no jQuery error message, so it's not that. Let's check to see that they're actually being put into separate. Yes, they are. Okay. Whereas before they were all in one group, it appears as though nodes with no content are being loaded, because that one here has content, that one there does, and that's it. So let's see if we can rectify that. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, but we've got 12 here. What's causing that? Let's see. Photos. Exclude from display. I want to require that the node has content. What's going on here? Hide empty fields. Let's see. So how did I get that? Let's go settings, hide empty fields. No change by the looks of it. We'll save. I don't think that's changed it, but we'll give it a go. Okay, so to rectify this, I know that I've got a existing page that has a image gallery which is correctly using the Bootstrap module to display only the 3 pictures. So what I'll do is I'll look at that view and use it as a template. Edit view, and now I'll compare the settings between this one and the one that we're creating to see if we've missed anything obvious. So we've got content published, yes, post date, yes. Let's put these in different tabs, different windows. Will it fit? Just. So we're all the same here, here, content photos. Let's see what's going on here. Create a label, image URL, that's interesting. Absolute file path, bootstrap thumbnails, style, multiple image settings. Yep, so we've made that change correctly. Is there anything more? No results behavior. Nothing. Now there is some rewrite rules here, but I do believe this is specific to the modal view, having watched all of the Drupal Legoland series, and I have made the carousel on the home page before, which is arguably a better view to look at. So let's do that. So we've got a nice view here, which is essentially the same as what we're trying to create. So we'll edit this view to view its settings and compare these settings. Content type, content. That's it. That's it. It's so simple. What we haven't done is the filter of the content type. So let's maximize out, and we'll go to content filter, published, and we'll add content type of, what page is that? Treatment page. And we're not getting our feedback. Why is that? Ah, because it's all there. Oh, we are. It is refreshing. Content type. Content type. There we go. So we want to filter on content type of treatment page. This time it will include only nodes which are attached to that content type. Excellent. Much better. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, free. That's good troubleshooting. Good stuff. Okay, so now when we save and view this, we should see the carousel in all its glory. Bear in mind we haven't done the image style, so they won't really fit very well, and we'll do that to finish off. Now the downside of putting these beauty images in particular into a banner is they're all very square, and image banners across the top generally seem to be quite rectangular. However, we're only considering a desktop view in that context, and considering that increasingly, well, it's happened, increasingly everyone is experiencing a lot more mobile visits to their website, often as much as 50%, 50-50. Suddenly having a banner that is more square-spaced isn't such a bad idea anymore, because if this banner was a rectangle, it would be scaled down and be a lot smaller on a mobile device. So it's just something to consider. Okay, so now what we'll do is we'll create an image style to make sure all of these images are styled and cropped to a consistent size, so we don't get this jumping between the images. And to do that, we create an image style. Okay, cool. So at the moment, the image style is none. Where is this? Let's have a look. Fields. Not that one. Settings. Where's it gone? I've lost it. There we go. So the actual field itself, fields, content, photos, image style, none. So I'll create a treatment page gallery style, and I'll copy this one as a template. Now to do that, you go to configuration, just checking it was still recording, had a moment of panic there, and we'll go to image styles, which is somewhere on this page. There it is. Great. So this one here, slideshow homepage, is a custom one. What does that do? Let's have a look. I'll edit that. So it just scales and crops to 850 by 500, so a width of 850 and a height of 500, which is great for a homepage because it's big and bold, and it's what you'd call the hero element in Bootstrap. Because it's so big and just in your face. We don't want that, obviously, for a little old treatment page, because it would just be too overpowering. So we'll just have a consistent size of let's be clever about this. So on the desktop side, we've got this. Now this isn't creating a style, a width which is good across all devices. We don't need to concern ourselves with that, because Bootstrap will set a class on each image, on the carousel, sorry, which makes the whole carousel responsive. So, but what I will do is in a reasonably sized display, how big can we scale this image up to realistically? So we've got a width here of 800 and a height of 700 for the body content. That's a height of 72 for the title, and I'd like the image banner to be slightly taller than that. So we'll go with 850 for the width still, which I think is the same width as this. Yeah, 850. But in terms of the height, will be a slightly bigger. This will result in a very strange looking image if we do this actually. If we go to 850 and then something like 200. Let's give it a go. So what did we call the treatment page? So we'll call treatment, to be consistent with our namings, treatment page gallery image. Create a new style, and we'll scale and crop. And we'll do the full width of here, 850. That's actually a little bit, it's not 850, is it? We'll go with 850. There's enough space within the section to do that. Width of 850 and a height of slightly bigger than that. So let's go with double that, 200, 150, 150, 200. We can change it. Add effect. Great, so that's created the style which should now be available in the views page. So we'll go to the content photo and apply that style to that image. So here it is, treatment page, gallery image. And what Drupal will do in that context, it will look at the image, check that it's not been, check whether it's been scaled and cropped already. If it's not, it will perform that operation and then output that to the user. So apply to that display and save. And here we'll see how scaled and cropped these images really are. Oh goodness me, not a fan of that. It could look better if the images were slightly higher resolution. Let's see. And we'll refresh. Okay, there we go. So we've got our banner, and we'll humour it for a moment. I mean, that picture doesn't look terribly well, but you can see how having a square-based gallery might actually prove more useful, although on a larger screen it would look quite odd. There we go. Could perhaps make that a bit fitter, a bit taller. What I'll do now is I'll take this view, expose it as what we call a block, and add it to a treatment page. So for example, on this beautiful nail art page, we will insert the banner across the top here. Okay, let's do that. So we've got our view. Where has it gone? Here's our view, and we'll switch back to the block, which has got exactly the same settings as the page. Confirm that's there, and this is now available as a block to the display suite module, and we'll go to the page that we want it to appear on and click the nice helpful contextual link to manage that display. Okay, now at the bottom, display suite provides some custom fields options, which allows you to add a block which you can then place where you like within the layout. So as we started off, we had the layout of 2 columns stacked, and what we want to do is put it in the top header here. So we'll go to custom fields, add a block, and try and remember what it's actually called. Add a block field. Why did that not work? Let's see. Console. Unrecognized expression, ctools. This could be to do with jQuery. Yes. Right, let's make sure that we've got the right version of jQuery running again. Bit of a hassle. jQuery update. Yeah, we'll just go down to the default just to be sure, to help the modules that rely on the older version of jQuery to do their job properly. Manage display. And we'll go to custom fields, add a block. Perfect. See how that just pops up now? Hopefully Drupal has caught up with this with Drupal 8, which is no longer an issue. And what do we want? We want to call it the treatment. I'm trying to be consistent still with the naming, because it helps so much when someone else comes to view a Drupal site to build it if the names are consistent. So I'll just remind myself what we called that, and it was gallery something. Treatment page gallery. Great. Treatment page gallery. And what is it? We want the node. We don't want to limit it at all. And we want the block. Where is it? Which is a view, I should say. Slideshow, homepage. Nope. Treatment gallery. There it is. Default layout. Save. And what that has done is it's made that block available to Display Suite, and we can drag it underneath the header section, which is where we want it. So where is it? Let's have a look. Treatment page gallery. Here it is. And I'd like that to be displayed in the header region. Pop, off it goes. There we go. And we can set the settings here to set. Oh, we don't need to do that. Excellent. Okay. When did we need to do that? Never mind. Treatment page header, do we want the label? No, and we'll save. Now we've got two displays defined on the view. We've got a page and a block. I'm not sure whether it will choose the correct one. It probably will do, because it knows that it needs a block. And sure enough, we have our gallery on the page. It's not moving. Why is it not moving? Again, jQuery. So, default jQuery version 1.9, production, minified, save configuration. We'll go back to our incognito. So here's how we started, and I'll duplicate this tab and reload. And we now should have a image gallery appear here. Fantastic. We don't want this. Let's get rid of that. And obviously we'll want some padding above here. Let's get rid of the title. Okay, we can do that from the. We can get rid of it here, and we can also get rid of it, which is better to get rid of somewhere else, because you don't really want to be getting rid of the titles of views. See if I can remember how that's done. So we will go to the display suite, gallery, and we'll go to custom fields, manage fields, and we've got the block for the treatment page gallery, and I'm not sure, I think there's an option here to remove the label. No, that's not quite what we want. Okay, I've forgotten. So what I'll do is I'll begrudgingly remove it here and apply to all displays, save, and now when I refresh we should get rid of this. Perfect. Okay, so we've now got the image gallery at the top to show off the pictures in the gallery, and need some padding there. That can be done with an override CSS. Let's just do it temporarily here. Perhaps we'll have padding below the actual banner itself. Get the carousel block. Is that the whole block? No. Well, put some padding below the header. So we'd have to do this with media queries, because a margin bottom on this screen might look great, but it might not look great on a small screen. Adding a 20 pixel margin here might look fine here, but on a small screen has to be checked to make sure it's good, make sure it makes sense. Okay, cool. I do wish they were better images. Excellent. Okay, and now it makes this page quite redundant, which we can disable using the display suite module again. So we'll go back to the display suite to manage the display. Nope, wrong one. Manage display. I was supposed to click. There it is. And what I'll do is I'll photo gallery disabled. There we go. And it cascades down quite nicely. Thank goodness for that. Save. And refresh. And sure enough, oh, speaking too soon. Sure enough, the gallery tab has gone, and we've just got the gallery, the banner here, and the picture here. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Given the images, perhaps with better images it will look better. But that's for the designer to decide, of course. Excellent, and much simpler. 3 tabs, best things come in threes. Treatment description, and let's add another treatment page to see if there's any errors that appear, and I'm sure there will, because we haven't done a filter here. And by filter I mean on the view it's getting all images regardless of what page it's attached to. So if we add a treatment page, go to Pictures, Clinic to Beauty, and we'll get some, what shall we do? Use this very good beauty clinic in Leicester. We'll use that as the placeholder. Example treatment, and I will get some lorem ipsum text, or just some text. Where are we going? What's going on there? Just realised that the video capture hasn't been showing the other window, so you've never been seeing the gallery when I've been saying to look over there. I'm sorry about that. Hopefully you've seen it from when I went to the treatment page and saw the end result of it, which is here. Great. Okay, so we'll create another treatment page with some text. This is some text. There we go. That's a description and a half. There we go. And we'll add some photos to this. And these will appear in the gallery above. There we go. And let's do 4 images, just for good measure. What have we got 4? 1, 2, 3. That'll do. These are quite nice images, so we'll use these ones. We'll stick with 3. And we'll have a price group for legs. So we'll have full legs, full leg wax, £40. And now we'll just have, yep, sides of neck, why not, £20. And we won't have any FAQs, we won't provide a menu link, and we'll save that as another treatment page. Excellent. Wow, that was quick. So we've got example treatment, we've got our description, we've got our further description, prices, no FAQs because we didn't add them, and the image banner at the top. And we'll see straight away, oh look, we've got nails in there too. We don't want that. How do we get rid of this? It's a simple contextual filter using the using the views module. So we'll go to edit view, and what we want to do is go to the advanced section, contextual filters, and we can filter on the node ID. And what that means is the view, when the views module does its query, it will check whether the images that it's loading into the gallery are indeed attached to that node. If they're not, they won't be displayed. So it will show the images attached to the nails page for that page, and it will show the images attached to the example page for that one. Okay, what do we want to do? I've lost my place a little bit. Provide a default value. I'll just go out of this and remind myself. So I'll remove it. So you go to contextual filters after that little explanation, node ID, check that we want the node ID, and now the views is asking us where do you want to get that node ID from, and we'll say provide a default value, because sometimes it can be within the URL. But what we'll do is we'll tell it to get the content ID from the URL. There we go. Now this might seem a little bit confusing because often the treatment, the node ID is not in the URL because we're using what's called clean URLs or pretty URLs, where you might see /page/treatments. Here we go. So for example, content/nail art 2, it doesn't actually have the number in it, ignoring that 2 there. By the time that Drupal sees this page, a process called URL rewriting occurs, which is defined in a file called .htaccess, and the views module sees which page is being requested from that point, and the URL gets transformed into a query. So the URL gets transformed, and that new URL contains the node ID, which is why it's able to get the ID from the URL at this point. So we'll apply to the displays, and we'll refresh. It refreshed for us, thankfully, and excellent. Now we've only got the three images in there. Perhaps making this banner a little bit taller would be worth the while. Excellent. So that's a very quick exploration of from going nowhere to actually getting a reasonable banner going. Obviously there's tweaks needed to be made, deciding upon a agreeable height for such a banner, and adding padding here. But all things through, and that's all we've got to do to get a banner using the Bootstrap theme. So obviously there's a lot of things at play here. What did we do? We used the Bootstrap theme. That was the first block that was installed, and we have the views module in tandem with the display suite, and we combine those elements together to create this page. With the views module, we created a block, which is here. We then added this block to the display suite as a, what should we call it? I won't call it a field. As a draggable feature, using the custom fields add block. And then once we'd add it to display suite, we told it to appear in the header. We could quite as easily drag it down and get it to display in the footer, which may look nicer. Let's give it a go. Save, and there we go. Doesn't look nicer, does it? And there it is. Let's refresh on this page too. I've just switched to the incognito page, and it doesn't look too bad. But there, the carousel is clearly being applied to the whole region instead of just the individual block. So I will move that back to the header and stop fiddling. Where is it? Footer, header. Excellent. Okay, save those changes and leave the rest to be explored. Thanks for watching.